Hollywood, 1943. A man in a tailored suit walks onto a film set at RKO Studios. He's 38 years old, perfectly groomed, dark hair slicked back. His suit is expensive, double-breasted, sharp, lapels, silk tie. He moves with confidence, not swagger. Confidence. The crew recognizes him. Johnny, Rosselli, assistant purchasing agent. Salary, $65 per week. His actual job, something else entirely. Rosselli watches the director block a scene. He offers suggestions. Quietly, respectfully. The director listens. Rosselli knows production, understands budgets, sees angles others miss. He's been around studios for years. He knows how things work, both the legitimate machinery of filmmaking and the shadow operations beneath it. His business card reads, strategist. That's accurate. Johnny Rosselli is a fixer. He solves problems. He makes connections. He operates in two worlds simultaneously, Hollywood and organized crime, moving between them at the highest levels. He works for mob bosses in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. He advises studio moguls, stars, producers. The line between these worlds is thin, permeable. Rosselli crosses it constantly. Born Filippo Sacco in Asperia, Italy, 1905. His family immigrates to Boston when he's a child. He drops out of school, runs with street gangs, gets arrested for narcotics possession at 18. He leaves Boston, drifts to Chicago, falls into Al Capone's orbit. He's smart, presentable, useful. Capone's organization sends him west in 1924. Los Angeles needs representation. Rosselli is 19 years old. He reinvents himself completely. Filippo Sacco becomes Johnny Rosselli. The name comes from Italian. Paintings he admires, signed Rosselli. He takes it, makes it his. No connection to the artist, just a signature. He likes. The transformation is total. New name, new persona, new life. He becomes handsome Johnny. Dashing, charismatic, perfectly dressed. People believe the image. Many never learn it's constructed. In Los Angeles, Rosselli connects with Jack Dragna, the local crime boss. He runs gambling operations, enforces collections, manages labor disputes. He's effective, discreet. By the 1930s, he's embedded in Hollywood, not as a thug, as a businessman. He has an office, business cards, legitimate employment. He attends industry parties, plays golf with executives, dates actresses. He fits. The studios need him. Labor unions are aggressive, demanding better conditions, higher pay. Strikes shut down. Production. Lost time costs millions. Rosselli brokers deals, smooths tensions, makes problems disappear. The studios pay. Not officially, through consultants, intermediaries, creative accounting. But they pay. 1936, the studios face a new problem. Willie Byoff and George Brown, two Chicago mobsters, control the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. IATSE represents projectionists, stagehands, technicians, workers essential to every theater in America. Byoff threatens strikes unless studios pay. Extortion. The demand is simple. Millions in cash or production stops nationwide. The studios pay. They have no choice. Between 1936 and 1941, Hollywood studios funnel over $1 million to Byoff and Brown. Rosselli facilitates some transfers, collects percentages, ensures smooth operations. It's business. Illegal, but business. 1941, the scheme collapses. A disgruntled mobster informs the FBI. Federal investigators build a case. Indictments follow. Byoff and Brown are arrested. So is Rosselli. He's charged with conspiracy to extort money from major motion picture studios. The trial is public, humiliating. Evidence is overwhelming. The courtroom in New York, December 1941. Rosselli sits at the defense table, calm, composed. His lawyers argue he's a minor player, a messenger. The prosecution disagrees. They present documents, witness testimony, financial records. The money trail is clear. The verdict arrives. Guilty. Rosselli receives a 10-year sentence. He's 36 years old. Federal prison awaits. His Hollywood career appears finished. His reputation is damaged. The man who moved between worlds now faces years behind bars. He serves his time at the Federal Correctional Institution in Terre Haute, Indiana. Then Atlanta. He's a model. Prisoner, quiet, cooperative, no trouble. He reads, exercises, maintains connections through letters. His criminal associates don't abandon him. Neither do his Hollywood friends. Some, anyway, the loyal ones. 1947. Rosselli is released on parole after serving 6 years. One condition. He must find legitimate employment. He heads back to Los Angeles. Most studios won't touch him. He's a convicted extortionist. But one, producer Brian Foy, gives him a chance. Foy runs a small operation at Eagle Lion Studios. He needs help. Rosselli needs work. The arrangement benefits both. Rosselli's parole officer approves. The paperwork is filed. Johnny Rosselli, former mob fixer, becomes a film producer, uncredited officially, but involved, deeply involved. 1948. Eagle Lion greenlights Canon City, a prison escape drama based on a real 1947 breakout from the Colorado State Penitentiary. The budget is tight, under $500,000. The approach is unusual. Director Crane Wilbur shoots on location at the actual prison. He uses real guards, real inmates as extras. The style is raw, documentary-like, neo-realist. Critics will call it later. Rosselli is instrumental. He understands production, knows how to stretch budgets, navigates bureaucracy. He negotiates with Colorado officials, secures permission to film inside the prison, manages logistics. His mob connections help too. He knows people who know people. Problems get solved. The shoot proceeds smoothly. The film releases in 1948. Critics praise its authenticity. Variety calls it taut and exciting. The box office is modest but respectable. Eagle Lion profits. Rosselli's role remains unofficial. No screen credit, no public acknowledgement, but industry insiders know. Johnny Rosselli produced Canon City. The same year, Eagle Lion begins He Walked by Night, a crime film based on the Irwin Walker case. Walker, a former electronics technician and World War II veteran, went on a burglary and shooting spree across Los Angeles in 1945 to 46. He killed a police officer. LAPD launched a massive manhunt. Walker was captured after, hiding in Los Angeles's storm drain system. The story is perfect for noir. Dark, violent, urban. Director Alfred Werker shoots in stark black and white. Cinematographer John Alton creates shadows, angles, visual menace. The film follows police procedure. Methodical, detailed, unglamorous. It's not a glamorous detective story. It's a procedural. The cops are professionals. The criminal is smart but doomed. Rosselli co-produces again. Uncredited again. He's involved in script development, casting, production, decisions. He knows Los Angeles crime intimately, both fictional and real. His input shapes the film. The authenticity shows. The police work feels real because Rosselli understands how investigations actually operate, how criminals think, how violence unfolds. The film releases in 1948. It's a critical success. Film historians later call it one of the great films noir from the classic period. Jack Webb, who has a small role, is so impressed by the police procedural approach that he creates Dragnet, the long-running radio and television series. He Walked by Night's influence echoes for decades. Rosselli's involvement in both films remains largely unknown until historian Lee Server researches his biography decades later. Server uncovers the truth. Johnny Rosselli wasn't just a financial backer. He was a creative force. He shaped both films significantly. But Rosselli doesn't stop producing. He can't make it work financially. Eagle Lion is small, budgets are tight, profits are minimal. Rosselli has expensive tastes. He lives in luxury apartments, eats at fine restaurants, gambles, dates actresses. His producer's salary doesn't cover the lifestyle. He needs other income. 1950s, Rosselli shifts focus. Las Vegas is booming. Casinos are opening. Money is flowing. The mob runs most. Operations. Rosselli becomes a fixer again. He represents Chicago interests, brokers deals, schemes profits. He lives between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, maintaining connections in both cities. He's Mr. Vegas now, the man who makes things happen. He also maintains Hollywood ambitions. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, he options screenplays, commissions scripts, pitches projects. He nearly produces an adults-only documentary about Las Vegas, featuring nude showgirls. A Mondo Kane-style project years ahead of its time. It never gets made. Financing falls through or partners withdraw or timing is wrong. Rosselli keeps trying. He loves movies more than he loves money sometimes. His personal life is chaotic. He marries actress June Lang briefly in 1940. The marriage dissolves quickly. In 1949, he meets Mara Jen Stevick, daughter of an Illinois newspaper owner. They marry in Mexico. Her father disapproves violently. He has the marriage annulled, commits Mara Jen to a psychiatric facility, authorizes electroshock therapy. Rosselli is furious but powerless. The relationship ends. He returns to bachelorhood. He's described by FBI informants as sex-crazy. He dates constantly. Actresses, socialites, artists. One girlfriend is Judah Campbell Exner, who simultaneously dates President John F. Kennedy and Chicago mob, boss Sam Giancana. The connections become a scandal. The press exposes the relationships. Congressional committees investigate. The overlap between politics, Hollywood, and organized crime is no longer hidden. 1960. The CIA approaches Rosselli with an unusual request. They want to assassinate Fidel Castro. They need mobsters with connections in Cuba. Rosselli has them. Before Castro's revolution, the mob ran Havanas. Casinos, those connections remain. The CIA offers money, resources, support. Rosselli agrees. The operation is clandestine, absurd, doomed. Multiple attempts fail. Poison pills that don't work. Contaminated. Cigars that never reach Castro. Exploding seashells placed in diving areas. Every plan fails. Castro survives. The operation is eventually abandoned. Rosselli's involvement remains classified for years. 1966. Rosselli faces new charges. Card cheating at the Friars Club in Beverly Hills. He's involved in a scheme where accomplices hidden in the club's ceiling spy on card players through peepholes, relay information via radio to Confederates at the tables. The operation runs for months, nets hundreds of thousands of dollars. The FBI investigates. Evidence is solid. Rosselli is indicted. 1967, he's convicted, sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. He serves his time, is released in 1973. He's 68 years old now. His health is declining. His criminal connections are aging, dying, retiring. The world has moved on. The mob's power is waning. Rosselli is a relic. 1968. The Senate Church Committee investigates CIA abuses. Rosselli is called to testify about the Castro assassination plots. He appears in closed session, describes the operations, names names. His testimony is damaging. The CIA is embarrassed. The mob is angry. Rosselli has talked, not everything, but enough. Enough to make enemies nervous. July 28, 1976. Rosselli has lunch with his sister in Miami. He leaves her house, says he's meeting someone. He doesn't say who. He drives away. That's the last time anyone sees him alive. August 7, 1976. A 55-gallon oil drum is found floating in Dumbfoundling Bay near Miami. Fishermen report it. Police investigate. They open the drum. Inside, Johnny Rosselli's body. He's been strangled, shot, dismembered, stuffed into the drum. The drum was weighted, dropped into the bay. Gas buildup from decomposition caused it to float to the surface. The murder is brutal, methodical. The oil drum is a mob signature. It sends a message. You talked, you died. The investigation goes nowhere. No arrests, no convictions. The case remains unsolved. Rosselli is 71 years old. At death, his obituaries focus on his mob connections, the extortion, the Castro plots, the criminal enterprises. The Hollywood years are mentioned briefly, usually as context for the extortion scandal. His role producing Canon. City and He Walked by Night is forgotten entirely. Film histories credit other producers, other creative forces. Rosselli's contribution disappears. But the films remain. Canon City and He Walked by Night are studied, screened, preserved. Film noir scholars recognize their quality. The influence is clear. The craftsmanship is undeniable. Jack Webb watched He Walked by Night and created Dragnet, which shapes police procedurals for generations. The impact is real, lasting. Rosselli's business cards told competing truths. Strategist on one. Giovanni Rosselli, world traveler, international lover, and last of the big spenders on another. Both accurate, both incomplete. He was a mob fixer who loved movies, a convicted extortionist who produced legitimate art, a murderer's associate who understood cinematic storytelling, a man who died violently in an oil drum but left behind 2 films that influenced American cinema. The contradiction defines him. He moved between worlds, Hollywood and organized crime, believing he could belong to both. For decades, he did. He dined with stars and mobsters. He produced films and fixed problems. He dated actresses and testified before Congress. He lived expensively, dressed sharply, maintained the image. Handsome Johnny, always performing. But the worlds eventually demand a choice. You can't serve both indefinitely. Rosselli tried. He produced 2 great noir films while working for mob. He testified about CIA assassination plots while maintaining criminal connections. He tried to be legitimate and illegitimate simultaneously. It doesn't work. It can't work. The oil drum floating in Dumbfoundling Bay is the answer. You can't talk to Senate committees about CIA operations and expect the mob to forgive. You can't maintain organized crime connections and expect legitimate film industry success. The contradictions catch up. They always do. Lee Server's research decades later reveals what history forgot. Johnny Rosselli didn't just put money into Canon City and He Walked by Night. He shaped them. He was a creative force. He understood story, character, tension. He knew Los Angeles crime intimately, both how it worked and how it felt. That knowledge informed the films. The authenticity came from him. Film Noir Foundation recognizes this now. Historian John Renovix profiles Rosselli in Noir City magazine. The article, Handsome Johnny Takes Tinseltown, details his Hollywood involvement. Interest grows. Mob. Historians note his unique position. J. Michael Niata, great-grandson of Los Angeles crime boss Jack Dragna. argues Rosselli deserves a biopic focusing on the Hollywood extortion scandal and the Las Vegas years. There are too many decades and capers to go into all the details in just a couple of hours. Niata says, you would have to focus on a subject or period. That's true. Rosselli's life spans too much. Boston street gangs, Chicago mob operations, Hollywood extortion, film production, Las Vegas deals, CIA assassination plots, Senate testimony, murder in an oil drum. No single narrative contains it all. The contradictions are too extreme. The worlds he occupied were too separate. But the Hollywood years crystallized something essential. Between 1947 and 1950, Johnny Rosselli tried to be legitimate. He produced films. Real films, not mob fronts. Canon City and He Walked by Night are accomplished works. Critics and historians recognize their quality. Rosselli contributed significantly to both. Not just money, vision, knowledge, creative input. Those years prove he could have been a legitimate producer. He had the skills, the connections, the understanding. But he couldn't leave organized crime. The lifestyle was too expensive. The connections were too deep. The mob was family, not metaphorically, literally. He worked for them his entire adult life. They wouldn't let him walk away, and he didn't want to, so he produced 2 films while maintaining mob connections. He lived in 2 worlds briefly. It worked, temporarily. Then the extortion scandal reignited attention. Then the Castro plots demanded testimony. Then the contradictions became unsustainable. Then a 55-gallon oil drum floating in a bay near Miami. Rosselli dies in 1976. Canon City is 28 years old. He Walked by Night is 28 years old. Both films are preserved, studied, influential. Film schools screen them. Noir festivals program them. Historians analyze them. Rosselli's name appears nowhere in the credits. His contribution is footnoted at best, unknown at worst, until Lee Server researches the biography, until historians dig deeper, until the Noir City profile appears, until people start asking, who really made these films? The answer surprises them. Johnny Rosselli, mob fixer, convicted extortionist, murder witness, helped produce 2 classic film noirs. He was a creative force in Hollywood, briefly, significantly, before the contradictions killed him. History forgets this. The mob connections overshadow everything else. The murder is sensational, perfect for tabloids and true crime books. The oil drum becomes a defining image. Handsome Johnny stuffed into a barrel, floating in a Florida bay. That's what people remember. But the films remain. Canon City and He Walked by Night exist, are watchable, are studied. The quality is undeniable. Someone made them. Johnny Rosselli was at someone, partially, uncredited, unofficial, forgotten. But there, the irony is perfect. Rosselli wanted to be remembered for movies. He loved cinema, optioned screenplays. Throughout his life, tried repeatedly to produce legitimate films. He succeeded twice. Created 2 influential noirs. Then history erased his contribution, remembered only his crimes. The movie survived. His role in making them didn't. That's the final contradiction. The man who lived between worlds, who wanted legitimacy while maintaining criminal connections, who produced art while working for murderers. He got his movies made. They're considered classics now, but nobody remembers he made them. The strategist, the fixer, the last of the big spenders. He spent everything, money, reputation, life, trying to belong to both worlds. He produced 2 great films. Then he died in an oil drum. Canon City and He Walked by Night are his legacy. Not the extortion, not the Castro plots, not the murder. 2 films. Dark, violent, authentic. Product of a man who understood both Hollywood and organized crime. intimately, who moved between them at the highest levels, who tried to be legitimate and criminal simultaneously, who paid for that contradiction with his life. The films endure. Rosselli's name doesn't appear in the credits. It should.